Hello everyone. The title of this particular video is hot sun aspects. And if you look around, you see that heat waves are everywhere and there are really, really high temperatures. And yes, the sun is quite active in these days. On the 20th, between the 20th and the 22nd of July, there are a number of sun aspects and a number of interesting placements, which we are going to take a look at. And I just heard that some climate activists, some crazy, idiotic climate activists may have their hands amputated simply because they glued themselves to the tarmac. It's so idiotic. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say because this is not the way to deal with this. But anyhow, so this is it. Hot summer aspects, July 20th to 22nd. And most of these drawings are for Budapest because it doesn't really matter at what exact time an aspect is going to be there, because simply it's there. And we are not going to look at midheavens and midheaven and ascendant aspects, just the main features. And this particular one is in the afternoon sometime. In the afternoon, the sun is exactly trining Neptune at that particular moment in time, and the moon is actually conjunct Venus. Why is it interesting or important, really? Because Venus will have its retrograde period within 2-3 days. I think it is turning stationary on the 22nd and the 23rd. First it's stationary direct, then it's stationary retrograde, and then by the 24th it is turning retrograde. And the Venus is not turning retrograde so very often. It has an almost circular orbit, which means that it's hardly ever retrograde. So whenever there's a retrograde period, it's always important for us to notice. Simply on a personal level, it could be that our well-being, our money-making abilities are not exactly brilliant or not very efficient, let's put it this way. But what is interesting is that during this period of time, the BRICS countries are meeting. I think they are going to have a summit sometime in August, maybe the 20th, 22nd of months from now. And during this period, the demand for a substitute currency, world currency, is becoming stronger, will be becoming stronger and stronger. And this is another reason, another ulterior motive for the Russian-Ukrainian war at the moment. I have a hunch that the American deep state knew exactly, was well aware that Russia and China may unite and may decide to create another substitute currency, a world currency, because the dollar is kind of being demoted. And they wanted to slow this process down, probably because they want to create their own substitute currency. And it will be interesting to see what will happen. I don't know anything about monetary issues, really. I have not studied economy, but I know enough to realize that what we have now, those banknotes we have now, are just pieces of paper. There's nothing behind the dollar, for instance. There are no silver certificate dollars anymore. So now we are just fighting over small pieces of paper which have value because of what? And yes, the world should deserve some sort of real currency. That's for sure. Anyhow, so this is what's happening on July the 20th. The sun will be exactly trining Neptune, and Sun Neptune, this is a water trines. Neptune in its own sign is retrograde, so there's clear visions, there's the clairvoyance, this is a clairvoyance aspect, are a little bit hindered by self-doubt or self-preservation, something like that. But the sun is highlighting it at the same time, giving it energy and also illuminating it. With the Venus moon, I think, yes, highlight is falling on monetary issues. And as you can see, the trans-Pluto Pallas Athena Mars is still quite tight. Actually, it's becoming a midpoint structure. So the Pallas Athena is at the midpoint of Trans-Pluto Mars. Trans-Pluto is the dimension jump, and of course Mars is weapons and how you assert your will and all kinds of other stuff regarding issues around will and self-assertion. And then there's also an upcoming Sun-Pluto opposition. It will be exact in the small hours of the 22nd. And there's also a Mars-Saturn opposition. Actually, this traffic jam has an opposition from Saturn, which is also retrograde. So there's a lot of energy going inwards. And of course, the nodal axis changed signs. The moment it changed signs on the 17th in the evening, before midnight in Europe, Pluto was actually becoming even energetically the apex of this karmic cage. And then the sun is, of course, coming up to the opposition of Pluto, highlighting and illuminating the whole thing. And the sun-Pluto opposition is always about who is in power, who is exercising the true power, who is doing this. Anyhow, right. Let's take a look at the complex planetary picture at 27 to 29 degrees. What you can see is there is this double karmic cage, nodal axis, Sun-Pluto opposition. And again, the sun is directly highlighting the true power behind the apparent power. Let's put it this way. And of course, the South Node in Libra for the next 1.5 years is trying to teach us be diplomatic, don't act, be smart, be logical, and also try to allow people to have their say and be rational, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, the North Node in Aries shows us we need to fight. We need to fight for what is ours, what is our due. It's not democracy and not this right and that right and gay rights and LGBTQ rights and whatever. No, human rights, God-given human rights. And if any group of people are above another group of people, or even about a majority, above the majority, that is not democracy, believe me, that is tyranny. Anyhow, so that we need to fight back, and we need to fight for what is due. Otherwise, soon you won't be able to eat meat, you won't be able to eat cheese, you will have to eat insects, you won't be able to drive your own car. Now, I just read somewhere that now they are trying to put together 5-minute cities, which means that you will live somewhere and your workplace will be your workplace, your favorite restaurant, and the kindergarten will be 5 minutes away. How are they going to do this? Unless they are going to build huge high rises and put in huge amounts of people. Come on, people, come on, think. This is ridiculous, okay? Have you ever seen a high rise which has been neglected and it's full of cockroaches and full of rats? Take a look at Paris, okay? Paris, the city of light, which is full of rats, and they don't know what to do about them. And the cretin mayor of Paris said, well, maybe we need to learn to live with rats. Really, that's your answer, and that's exactly what they are trying to push us into. It's ridiculous. So anyhow, that's the double karmic cage. We need to think how to act, and we do need to have our weapons ready. There is a cardinal water engine. Engines are very sturdy configurations. They have the drive of the square, the blessings of the trine, and the karmic duties of the quincunx, and they give you this push of energy. And there's this cardinal water engine with the sun, the South Node, and Neptune. So whatever your insight you have and whatever you bring in from previous incarnations will help you push. And there's a cardinal fire engine, which is the most active of the engines. Moon Venus in Leo, North Node in Aries, and Pluto in Capricorn. It gives you a beautiful push. And actually, I just noted one yod, but there's another one, of course, with the Moon Venus South Node and Neptune at its apex. And then another one is Moon Venus at its apex of the Pluto-Neptune sextile, which is becoming exact again. It used to be exact for almost a century in the 20th century. And here are the transcendental objects. Again, the color code is asteroids, which are the personal karmic level, are magenta or purple, TNOs and centaurs and those Kuiper belt objects are blue, and then red are the fixed stars, which are not in the they are in the universe and not within the solar system, so they represent universal energies and not human energies. And usually they give us certain worlds where we can heal or learn certain stuff. So on Sun Pluto you have on the Sun you have prudencia, prudence, okay, balance, and memnosune, remembrance. We need to remember what we used to know. On the Moon Venus, you have Hiroshima, which is a very negative asteroid. And yes, we are always at the brink of atomic war. And this is a reminder that we should really pay attention. Virtus, which is virtues, the cardinal virtues, which we must access and actually work with. And two fixed stars, one is Zeta Leo, which is Athafera, which is at the hair of the lion. And it represents power, instinctual power, and also the show off of power. And Alphard, which is Alpha Hydra, and Hydra is one of the mythical animals that Hercules is able to conquer, able to kill. And the Hydra's blood is a deadly poison. And of course, the hero needs these weapons, which belong to the goddess or the goddess energy. So what he does is he pushes his arrows, the arrowheads into the blood of the Hydra, and they become deadly weapons, and they kill accidentally and wound accidentally a lot of people that he didn't even want to. On Pluto, you have Hera, the wife archetype, and two centaurs, Aureus and Amicus. Aureus denotes mitigated punishment, and this is exactly happening all across the board. Take a look at the world leaders; they can get away with murder. And then Amicus represents the archetype that is fighting no matter what. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is honored. You just want to fight because you want to win. That is what the world leaders are doing, and also the deep state is doing everywhere across the board. And on the North Node, you have Athena, which is the same archetype as Pallas Athena, which both are asteroids, but Pallas Athena was the second asteroid to be discovered, and Athena is, I don't know which ones. So she is the protector of Athens in this research, so the protector energy. Melpomene, which is the muse of tragedy. So yes, we are kind of experiencing a lot of tragedy. If you look around, just to look at the war is enough. And then Panacea, which is the universal remedy. So out of the tragedy, we need to protect ourselves in order to heal and to reach this universal healing energy. And Arisha, which is the knot, which links the two fish in the constellation Pisces. One fish wants to go back to the wheel of karma, to the zodiac, so to start another incarnation cycle, and the other one wishes to go up there. Higher dimensional worlds are in your view, and you don't want to go back to the karmic wheel, and the knot doesn't really allow you choose to. You really don't have too much choice. You just go from one place to the other and then go back and whatever. And on the South Node, you have Haumea, who is a Hawaiian fertility goddess who is constantly renewing and rejuvenating herself in order to bear even more children with her own sons and grandsons. So that's those are the transcendental objects. And here's the Mars-Saturn opposition. And as you can see, Saturn is not just opposite Mars, but opposite Trans-Pluto and Pallas Athena as well. And they still create this mutable T-square at the apex of which is Astrea, the karma breaker. So that is how that is one dissolution of the energy. The other dissolution is a mutable air engine with Ceres, Saturn, and Astrea. So it gives you the potential to make changes, mutable, that are clever air. And they concern your home or your family, Ceres. And of course, the fact that Saturn and Astrea are in a mutable square means that, yes, there's this karmic issue, and then the karma breaker tries to fight with it. And there is also another dissolution to the opposition, but it's a tense dissolution provided by Chiron, which is a semi-square and a sesquiquadrate to the opposition. So those are that is how the Mars-Saturn opposition is dissolved, which you probably noticed, and you probably read a lot about how, and it's a disruptive energy. Actually, it is what I call one of the so-called accident aspects, because something opposes your will. And if you happen to be in a car, yes, it can lead to an accident, unfortunately. And here are the transcendental objects. They're almost the same as they were in the new Cancer New Moon video. So Saturn is still conjunct Gong Gong, which is total disruption and cataclysms. Sadalajbia, which is the gamma star of Aquarius, symbolizing the flow of life, water, the water of life. And then I have Adiga, which is the alpha star of Cygnus, the swan. And this is one of the shaman stars that are flying towards the Milky Way and bringing down the energy pattern of the Milky Way, which is always divine. And on Ceres, you have Asclepius, Demeter, Osiris, and Make, and also Logos and Diadem. So Asclepius is healing. Demeter is just an alter ego of Ceres, the Greek version of her. So the protector of agriculture and cultivation. Osiris is the god of the underworld in Egyptian mythology. Make is an interesting TNO. It is linked to soul retrieval, when your soul has been kind of flown elsewhere, or you have a couple of soul particles disrupted. Then make is the energy that allows you to gather all those soul particles, right? And then logos means creation through words, so through uttered words. And then a diadem is the alpha star of Coma Berenike, a very not very bright. It's actually it's hard to find in the sky. You need very clear skies and dark skies in order to find, because it's a dim constellation, dim stars. Even the alpha is 4.3, so you can see it barely visible, really. But anyhow, diadem is the star where our sacrifices are gathered, those sacrifices which you never talk about, which you do as an offering and quietly and without any publicity, let's put it this way. And Ceres is coming up to an exact conjunction in the next couple of days with diadem, but the energy is already there. On Pallas Athena, so that's the true Pallas Athena. And interestingly enough, there's nothing on Trans Pluto and on Mars at the moment, only Pallas Athena, but it kind of is radiating to the other two celestial objects as well. You have Avicenna and Fantasia. Fantasy, of course, the creative powers of fantasy. And Avicenna is the Latin version of Ibn Sina, who was a polymath and a magician. You can read about him in the 1001 Night's Tale. And then on Astrea, you have Hel, which is the, again, an underworld goddess of the Norse mythology. So that is the opposition. This is how the opposition can be explained. And on the 22nd at 4:52 a.m. London time is when the Sun-Pluto opposition becomes exact. As I said, 2-3 days earlier, you already will feel the push and the power. And everything remains the same. There's the mutable T-square with Saturn, Mars, and Astrea, and all the rest. The tensely dissolved opposition with Chiron, so this structure with semi-square and a sesquiquadrate. But another interesting thing becomes exact on that day, in that moment. It's a talent rectangle. All kinds of rectangles are like bows, like bow ties. The most famous of them is the mystic rectangle, with when two oppositions are put together by two sextiles and two trines. Those are very beneficial aspects. And here you have the same thing. Two oppositions are linked or framed by talent aspects. There's a Sun-Saturn biquintile and the Pluto-Pallas-Athena biquintile. And biquintiles denote talents and ingeniousness that are there for the whole incarnation cycle. And Sun-Saturn is, of course, perseverance and perseverance. I don't know how to, I apologize for my pronunciation. I sometimes see words only in writing and I don't exactly know how to pronounce them, but you will understand probably. And then Pluto-Pallas-Athena is clever, wise transformation. And there are two deciles, which are professionalism. They denote professionalism, Sun-Pallas-Athena and Saturn-Pluto on the other hand. And the double karmic cage is still there. It's actually very, very tight, but within 24 hours, the sun is changing signs. It's moving into Leo, and that is when this side of the karmic cage is falling apart. So it's not going to be the sun nodal axis karmic cage is falling apart. The Pluto nodal axis karmic cage is still going to be there. And actually it is becoming tighter and tighter in the upcoming time. And there will be a second and third installment as well. So it's going to be a long configuration. So that's it. And as I said, it's going to be a very hot couple of days. Be careful with accidents and be careful with power struggles and power issues as well, because that is what is focused. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.